You're watching SEC Saturday on Mix 104.1 and MixTV.tv, presented by CHI Memorial.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of SEC Saturday, presented by CHI Memorial. We're on Mix 104.1, MixTV.tv, and Talk 101.3 The Buzz. And I'm joined by our first time in a while of having everybody back, Shelton.
Josh never shows up. I mean, that's the problem. You know, he's here 1 week, gone 1 week. You know, it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is.
He's saying that about you?
I've been here every single week this year except for one.
You weren't the week
and
after.
I was laid up in bed battling COVID, and I'm back. So, you know, two completely different reasons for me not being here in comparison to why you're never here.
COVID's 3 years old, buddy. Stop using any excuse. It's fine.
Well, they're still selling the nose swabs at CVS. So.
You sure that was COVID? Okay. Jason Cox, Reverend Cox is with us. How are you?
I'm good. I'm sitting really, really close to the commissioner here. So
you're going to need a lot of faith in this edition. All right, Shelton, I want to begin with you because, look, UT all over UConn. We knew that going in, but what'd you take from that?
Well, I'll be honest. I think UConn, if you look at them, you know, coached by Jim Mora, which a guy you know.
Oh, that's right.
Jim Mora coaches UConn, and
try to spin this.
I will
try to spin UConn being a really great team, and Tennessee just coming out and doing something special.
Well, they're the basketball national champions.
Oh yeah.
You asked me the question, right? Mm-hmm. Apparently, during his COVID, he forgot how the rotation goes. It's puff, give. It's fine. So listen, you know, you look at UConn team; they weren't very good. They played pretty well against a few teams this year. You know, Tennessee went in; they did what they needed to do. The big takeaway from this is our ability to run the football. I think we've established we can run the football, and that with a couple series, you saw that Nico is a 6'5" Bryce Young, and Tennessee will play for a national championship when he's quarterback eventually in the next 3 years.
Wow. All right, Jason, what do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, they did what they needed to do. Joe Milton, 11 for 14, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. You know, Jalen Wright takes, the second play from scrimmage, 82 yards to the house, and that running game got going early and often. 2 scoop and scores. No, two pick sixes. Pick sixes, and a big man touchdown on a scoop and score. You know, that's a fun day. I'm sure everybody in General Neyland's big old house of football up there had a great time that day. But it's always hard to take anything away. We got to see Nico. We got to see Gaston Moore run a couple series at quarterback. Gaston Moore is going to be the backup quarterback for probably the first half of the year next year, while the next freshman gets in there.
Gaston Moore will be a head coach in a Power 5 school.
That's why he's here. Yeah. He came with Heupel from Central Florida, and you know, he's a Heupel guy. He'll probably coach on Tennessee's staff before he moves on.
Absolutely.
And so good to see him. And Old Navy Schuler got a series in there.
And so Heath and I were up there eating a hot dog together, and you know, I don't know why Navy. I'm not sure why Navy is staying at UT. Navy could start at a lot of places.
He wants to be a coach too, so that would be
makes sense.
Now, do you want to comment on UT or something else?
No, I'll comment I'll comment on Shelton saying that UConn was a really good team. They played, really well this year.
I said they played some good teams well. That's all I said.
The 1-8 UConn Huskies. Real great team. But hey, I did watch the game, and Joe Milton finally looked like a quarterback in the first half. I wish that UConn would have been a better team so that we could have seen how Joe Milton would have been in the second half. But really glad to see Nico play. I think that Nico has tons of learning to do still, obviously. I mean, he hasn't really got that much playing time. The game looked a little bit fast for him. I think that trying to get in that offense, Jim Mora was quoted that is a really, 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 really fast offense. And that was the exact quote of what it was. And I think that for Nico and Schuler and all these other guys that are playing quarterback that haven't been in that high-paced offense and are coming in as freshmen and coming in and not really having a whole lot of time, it's going to be some hiccups on the offense going forward. But at the end of the day, Tennessee looked really great against a really horrible Huskies team, and we'll kind of see what happens this week when they go to Missouri and I think that game will really determine just how good this Tennessee team is.
Quite a week, I tell you, and I was telling Shelton this yesterday, it's one of the best weeks that I've seen just across the board.
Sure. College
football this week. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to throw you a curveball, guys, though. I want you to go back to give me something from the SEC this past week that stood out to you. It can be anything, and we did not rehearse this. They did not know I was going to do this.
No problem. The Arkansas Razorback, Sam Pittman, who was looking to lose his job, may have saved it with their Arkansas's first ever win in the Swamp. The Swamp, who holds 100,000+, had 80,000 people show up. Let me tell you what gets coaches fired. It's not wins and losses, it's butts in the seats. Mm-hmm. And when you have 80,000 people show up to the Swamp for an SEC game, that tells me that Billy Napier better hope and pray that he can pull a rabbit out of his hat this week, because Florida football is, other than their tremendous win over Tennessee, which they looked like world beaters that week, I think Florida football is in a very, very bad state, and they may have saved Sam Pittman's job last Saturday.
Jason, what stood out to you in the SEC last week?
I mean, I think Alabama beating LSU by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
I picked LSU. I didn't see Alabama running away with that one. And if you watched it, it was two possessions. It was a difference in two possessions. 2 stops for Bama, and their quarterback went and scored touchdowns. So.
Or a illegal hit to the head.
Oh my!
I mean, how this guy was not ejected from the game just tells you about Alabama football in itself. The SEC's looking into this hit, but when a guy is sitting there having to have his jaw reset on the sidelines, I believe it's probably illegal hit to the head. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there.
Well, it's Alabama. It was at Alabama. That's never going to get flagged in Tuscaloosa. It's just not. And I mean, the picture tells it all. I mean, I don't know if we can throw that up there for people watching on TV, but I mean, his head is down. It's in the face mask, crown of the helmet, and then you've got a potential Heisman Trophy winning quarterback getting knocked out of that game. And so, yeah, it is what you get in Tuscaloosa. It's been that way forever, and and officiating in general, I think has always been bad. I've got an opinion on that. I think the SEC, with as much money that runs through that thing, they need to hire officials full time. They need to let those guys sit in offices and study film all the time. They don't need to be going to office jobs through the week. Pay them $75,000 a year with I don't know, 5 different crews, and let them be full time officials. Let's get these things right. So, anyways, Josh,
what do you make of last week?
Yeah, Jimbo Fisher is actually a good coach. I think that he's been in and off the Shelton hot seat for the entire year for the past 4 or 5 years.
That's the American water heater hot seat.
Yeah, but if you really watch that game, that Ole Miss and Texas A&M game, I mean, Ole Miss just kind of really just manhandled Texas A&M that first half. And after halftime, there was just a flip of the switch, and Texas A&M brought it on, and the game-tying field goal was missed, right? So, I mean, we could be talking about, an Ole Miss team coming to play Georgia this week with a loss against Texas A&M. But at the end of the day, the end of the game, I mean, Ole Miss wins 38-35. It comes down right there to the last second. And to be honest with you, I mean, it wasn't talent. Like, both of those teams are very talented. I think that game really came down to coaching, and I think that Lane looked like that Ole Miss team in the fourth quarter looked horrible. So we'll see what Ole Miss team comes out to play against Georgia this week, but give props to Jimbo where they're due.
We're going to take a quick break right here. Back with more in a moment.
Health Break is sponsored by CHI Memorial.
Bringing home a new baby is an exciting time for a family, watching the infant learn and grow. But these times bring many questions as well. That's why Dr. Matthew Campbell says that well baby visits with a pediatrician are important.
It's making sure they're growing well, they're developing well, that they have good interaction with parents, siblings, peers. If you can catch things early, you can hopefully minimize and sometimes even reverse some of those delays so that you don't have long-term consequences.
These visits are perfect times for parents to learn what to expect next in their baby's development and celebrate their progress.
The other big piece that we're looking for is making sure from a preventative standpoint that we can keep them safe. So vaccines are something that we do at the 2, 4, and 6 month visit, and again at 12, 15, and 18 months.
To learn more, visit us online at memorial.org.
You're watching SEC Saturday on Mix 104.1 and MixTV.tv, presented by CHI Memorial.
Welcome back, everybody. It's SEC Saturday, presented by CHI Memorial. CHI Memorial and Memorial Convenient Care, Public Shopping Center, Paula Parkway in Cleveland. I'll tell you what, before we continue on with SEC football, Shelton, we've got a major contest happening right now. And I think you've got
absolutely Black Friday. I've got it
presented
memorized.
by Cleveland Insurance.
Absolutely, Black Friday. This is the fourth annual, I believe fourth annual. Black Friday shopping contest on the app. If you don't have the Mix 104 app, download that thing immediately. You've got breakfast from Hardee's. You've got lunch for Chick-fil-A. You have a vehicle and a chauffeur for you and 3 of your friends from Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep of Cleveland.
It's a Jeep Wagoneer.
That is a 2023 Jeep Wagoneer. You have
hopefully Mayor Brooks doesn't book that for you.
That's a whole different story for a whole different time. KB Travel, don't call them.
Travel. Don't call them. They'll call you.
Yeah, kind of broken travel. And so but on top of breakfast from Hardee's, on top of a lunch from Chick-fil-A, on top of having someone drive you around with 3 of your friends, or hey, less if you want them, I don't care. You're getting a $1,000 Visa gift card from Cleveland Insurance to go get that Christmas shopping done one day. It is one of the biggest giveaways of the year.
Really is.
This leads us.
You
in.
got $1,000 to give? I mean, as much travel as you're doing, going to the beach, going to all these Tennessee games.
I called Bront Baines. We're good for it. And so at the end of the day, you can win a $1,000 gift card. You can win a free. You don't have to worry about travel. You don't have to worry about getting in and out of places. They're going to pull you up to the front door. Up to 3 of your friends. If you want to share the money, great. If you don't, nobody cares. But you're going to get, again, breakfast from Hardee's, Chick-fil-A from lunch, and then Crown's going to hook you up with a Jeep Wagoneer. This is going to be a fantastic day for someone. I know last year it was an incredible time for the winter there, and we're going to duplicate that this year.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Hey, I got a question. Is there a fun website for this, like Shelton's Black Friday?
Oh, you know what? We can do that. We could.
We want to get them on the app.
Shelton jingle all the way.
We're going for the app this time. Download the app, Jason.
We'll do it during Christmas, I guarantee you.
Get that flip phone out and put it on the app. It's fine.
Go to mymix1041.com. Let's get back to SEC football. This is an interesting game. I want to begin with Shelton here. Auburn at Arkansas is a 4 o'clock kickoff later today, Shelton.
Oh, I think it's a loser leaves town match. I really do. I think that Pittman did all he could do last week. He's still 3-6. He loses this, he's 3-7. I think he could finish 4-8 on the year, but Auburn, I think their fan base thought they were going to get a little bit more than they're getting. That's not been the case. I think if you look at the same thing at Texas A&M when Josh was rallying around them, if you look at what Jimbo's doing versus what Kevin Sullivan did, when he was there, he's 3 games better than Jimbo at the same point in their careers, and they ran him out of town. And so if you're going to run one guy out of town for not being very good, run the next guy out of town for not being very good. I think Auburn wins this game in Arkansas. I think they're a little better offensively. I think Auburn moves in, goes to 6-4. I think they get to a bowl game that's enough to save a job. But I think Arkansas is probably looking for a new coach at the end of the year.
And I love how you have former NWA TV champion Kevin Sullivan as the former
I
coach
did.
of
Yeah,
Texas
I'm sorry,
A&M.
I did. Sorry about that.
I love that. I love
sorry,
it.
yeah.
Jason Cox, what do you make of it?
I'll take Arkansas in this one. I think Sam Pittman. They really like Sam Pittman in Arkansas, and I know we've got him getting canned this year, and I still think he probably will. But they really do like Sam Pittman there in Arky, and I just think being at home, Arkansas is a 3-point favorite. I was surprised to see that. I think Auburn comes in, and one thing, when you have a linebacker playing quarterback like KJ Jefferson, just let him run the football all the time. Yeah. And, he can throw it a little bit too. So give me Arkansas in a tight one.
What about a Commissioner?
Well, Shelton mentions about Hugh Freeze possibly being fired. I don't think that Hugh Freeze gets fired after the season. I think that, he obviously will retain his job. But if you're the athletic director and you're those boosters down at Auburn, how mad are you that you didn't sign Cadillac Williams as your head coach?
Oh gosh,
You know,
absolutely.
like that. I mean, Caddy had that team rolling last year. He had the morale built. He had the fan base built. And it was just growing, and then Hugh Freeze comes in and lays an egg, and they're 5-4 and haven't really played very well all season long. Obviously 5, 6 wins, 7 wins, but they have Arkansas to play, they still have Alabama to play in the Iron Bowl. So I mean, there's a handful more losses for this team. For me, I look at this game as I guess it is in Arkansas this week, and for Sam Pittman, this is a must-win, I think. You're right. They love Sam Pittman down there in Arkansas, and he's probably been one of the best coaches that they've had in many, many years. It's just very hard in an SEC West and really in an SEC school, for them to continue to be great, continue to win. It's very hard to do when you've got the likes of LSU and Alabama and Ole Miss and Texas A&M. But give me Auburn to win over in Arkansas this week.
It's SEC Saturday, and we continue. Florida at number 19. LSU's a night game tonight, 7:30 on the SEC Network, as the Gators and Tigers will come into this game trying to get back on the winning track while also trying to keep their fan base in check in this marquee SEC matchup. Jason Cox.
It's on the Bayou at night. There may not be a more hostile environment than LSU at night. Florida is coming in kind of spiraling a little bit after getting beat by Arkansas last week. So I think LSU wins. I don't know who will be the quarterback for LSU. I hadn't heard that yet, but I still think LSU wins this football game no matter what.
All right, Josh.
Yeah, I think Jaden Daniels is probably going to be out, and it's it's a shame. I mean, you got a guy that leading up to this game against Alabama, 178 for 240, or 178 and 247 attempts, almost 3,000 yards passing. He'll get healthy, and I mean, he will be a top quarterback taken in the NFL draft here soon. And ESPN has this game right now, 87.4% of a chance LSU wins this game. I don't go against that very often. Sometimes I do. I just don't think that Florida has the team to be able to compete with LSU defensively. They don't have defensively against that LSU offense. Give me LSU to win very big against Florida.
Let me clear my throat right here. This will. I hope Bo Borders listening. This will be the first of what will be 5 consecutive losses to end the season for Florida. Ooh. They lost to Georgia. They lost to Arkansas. They're going to lose tonight to LSU. They're going to lose to Missouri next week, and they're going to end the season with a loss to Florida State. They will be 5-7. They will miss a bowl game. Florida football is done for the next decade.
Whoa.
They will not be able to recover from this. The NILs are starting to dry up down there in Gainesville. You wait and see. 5 straight losses. They're going to keep their guy in place. They're going to finish 5-7 and be watching everybody else play a bowl game.
Oh, wow.
And with that, we'll be right back.
Health Break is sponsored by CHI Memorial.
In addition to top-notch medicine, CHI Memorial offers arts and health programs and music therapy for patients. Manager of Arts Therapies and Wellbeing, Shyla Rowe, explains.
We have a full-time board-certified music therapist, and she works with our PT, OT, and speech department and rehab. She does some neurologic music therapy for patients who have had strokes or brain injuries or Parkinson's disease.
Music cues help patients work on thinking skills, dexterity, even swallowing function. And of course, music offers emotional benefits as well.
Can we make the experience better for patients? There's also some really great neuroscience around that too. The music therapy is actually going to help those patients be able to go home quicker too, because it can speed up that treatment process.
To learn more, visit us online at memorial.org.
You're watching SEC Saturday on Mix 104.1 and MixTV.tv, presented by CHI Memorial.
Welcome back, everyone. It's SEC Saturday presented by CHI Memorial, and we're here on Mix 104.1, Talk 101.3 The Buzz, and MixTV.tv. We continue our picks now, and for many people, this is the game of the week. really, for all of college football, it's a prime time game. We're going to talk about Ole Miss at Georgia. It's a 7 o'clock game tonight on ESPN as Ole Miss has won 5 in a row, while Georgia has not lost since COVID. Two coaches, and we'll go to Mr. COVID himself here in a second. Two coaches who are friends and know each other very well will attempt to outsmart the other for a chance to play for an SEC championship, maybe a national championship. And Josh Rogers, the chief dog, will start with you.
Yeah, last week when I was sick and I was laying at home watching the Ole Miss or Missouri and Georgia game, I had an epiphany, and I sat here and said, a win is a win is a win, and if Georgia just keeps winning, I don't really care anymore what it looks like. We get in this mindset that because Georgia beat TCU 65-7 to win its second national championship, that every game should be that way, that we should just win every single game by 100 points, and that every other team is just trash and nobody else is good and nobody else is getting 5-star, 4-star, 3-star players, and that's just not realistic. And so for me, if Georgia just wins by 3, heck, if Georgia just wins by 1, right? Like they used to say, just win, baby, just win. Then I'm going to be happy, and I'm not going to be sad. I'm not going to break any more Apple TV remotes because they cost $50 every time I have to buy one. So here's my thing is that I think that this is the one game for the rest of the year that is the hiccup for Georgia. It's not Tennessee. It's not Georgia Tech. It's this game, okay? And I think that that's because Ole Miss is actually a really, really good team. I mean, they've got one loss this year, but look, Georgia's going for their 29th straight victory. It's going to be at home. It's going to be a slow start for Georgia. It's a 7 o'clock start. You've got the entire college game day fair there. But at the end of the day, Georgia's a 10.5-point favorite over Ole Miss. Give me Georgia by 3. Just a victory, baby, please. That's all I need.
Shelton?
Well, I think this is not only the best game of the week. I think this is one of the best games of the year. Yeah. You've got two guys that coach with each other at Alabama. You got two guys that have great respect for one another. You've got two programs that are really a tale of two cities. You got Georgia, who prides themselves on defense. You got Ole Miss, who doesn't play defense. You got two teams that, if they win this game, they're in a dry. I think they're in a really good position to slide into that top 4 position. I don't understand why Georgia's number 2 in this. Georgia, last week we had fun because Josh, wasn't here for the 12th time this year, and so but Georgia goes out and beats. When you talk about Missouri, we'll get to that game next, but Missouri's a top 25 team.
Yeah.
Now Georgia all of a sudden is playing 2 top 25 teams and actually a top 10 team in Ole Miss.
Yeah, and let me say something real quick because you guys really made me mad last week. Y'all sit here and say Georgia doesn't play nobody, and Georgia hadn't played nobody. And you're right? But that's not our fault. The SEC is not good, and we had Oklahoma scheduled, but guess what? They took that away from us. And at the end of the season, you're playing Missouri, you're playing Ole Miss, you're playing Tennessee, and guess what? And then after that, you're playing Alabama in the SEC championship. So tell me that Georgia doesn't play nobody. If Georgia wins the rest of these games, this team and goes on to win a national championship, you're talking about a team that's played almost every top 25 team out there and has whooped up on them. So give me a break, Sean.
My goodness.
Oh, I was fuming.
Really?
I was fuming last week.
Really, Spirit.
That was your fever.
Do you want to? I'll give you $50 for that Apple remote. It's fine. And so let's get back to this game. You've got Lane. The Lane train pulling into Athens. Folks, it's not the first time we've made him mad. It doesn't matter. And so, if Georgia were to lose this game, they go up to Neyland Stadium next week and lose there. They sitting there watching Tennessee and Alabama playing the SEC championship, but that's fine. But I do think that Georgia is the number 1 team in the nation. I do think they are the best team in the nation. I think they're the most well-coached team in the nation. I think that when you look at this game, I don't believe that Ole Miss has the discipline to stay 4 quarters. Now, do I think Ole Miss is going to put up a heck of a fight? Absolutely. They're going to score, and they're going to make Georgia look really dumb on defense a couple of plays. But Kirby's okay with that. But give me Georgia at home. They move on to 10-0. They keep their COVID record intact. Ole Miss finishes the year at I really think Ole Miss finishes the year at 10-2, which is a fantastic season. But give me Georgia.
All right, Jason.
Well, I learned something today. It's not every day you learn something, but I learned something today. Two of you have already mentioned that Kirby Smart respects and likes Lane Kiffin. I didn't know anybody respected and liked Lane Kiffin, and so I've learned something today. I suspect this will be an entertaining football game. But again, home field advantage is so important. Georgia at night, I suspect that place will get pretty rowdy. And, here's the thing I would expect, though. Lane Kiffin's going to pull out every punch he can. I mean, trick plays. He's going to do it all. He'll try to milk the clock if he can. He'll do it all to try to keep this thing close. But at the end of the day, I think Georgia wins this thing. And I don't know that it's a fourth quarter game. I think probably this thing's in tow by the start of the fourth quarter in Athens. Georgia
Go ring the bell, boys. Go ring the bell.
All right, so we've not discussed this previously. A game outside the SEC, and I'm going to start while I give these guys some time. We didn't discuss this. This is almost live. No, we're 3 days ahead of time, but whatever. I'm going to give you, while these less than smart people look for another game, I will give you my Ivy League game of the week, which really should be the headline anyway. Cornell is at Dartmouth, and they're actually playing in 30 minutes. We're at 1:30 kickoff. Now, I don't know how this was – I can't even say it with a straight face. I don't know how this was not the ESPN primetime game. Where's game day when you need them? Cornell and Dartmouth. I'm going to go with Dartmouth for Ben Morrison, a graduate of Cleveland High who went on to Dartmouth. And we used to sit next to each other in biology class. So have I given you people enough time? I feel like the morning show and I have to delay here. Rogers, what do you got?
Yeah, Michigan, Penn State.
Ooh, Nelly.
Come on now.
Go fighting James Franklin's, baby. Win it all.
God.
Beat them cheating Michigan Wolverines.
Well, and we don't have a lot of time to talk about the sign-stealing scandal, literally time, but
they're corrupt. They don't deserve to play in a national championship, and they should be banned from football for an entire season. No games for an entire season.
I'm going Utah, Washington.
That's a good one.
The Pac-10, 12, or 2, whatever's left. They always take care of themselves when it comes to a national championship picture. Washington is in the driver's seat to get the top 4 picks. I think Utah goes to Washington and upsets the Huskies to wreck the Pac-12 again.
What game are you picking?
Well, I'm going to go Texas TCU, and I'll tell you why.
Can I say something real quick? That game, like if Washington loses, USC and Oregon is this week too, and USC could beat Oregon. There's your number 5, and there's your number 6 teams that are gone.
I don't see either thing.
I'm just saying that those things.
I think he's wrong, and I think you're wrong.
And then if Penn State beats Michigan, this is where everything starts getting interesting.
And again,
everything starts getting
interesting. Well, and again, looking at to me, it's the best overall week we've had over the entire country.
Yep.
Jason Cox.
Yeah, Texas TCU. I don't care anything about this game. I just want to talk about TCU. You mentioned TCU a minute ago. You mentioned sign stealing. The story broke over the last week or so about TCU and the sign stealing. So they caught wind that Michigan was stealing signs, and so last year in the national championship semifinal game, they changed their signs and decoyed Michigan, which would explain why TCU absolutely put it on Michigan by several touchdowns. They decoyed Michigan's, had other signs that were the real signs. Just genius.
That's fascinating. Tennessee at Missouri. Well, and we are playing for second place game of the week. The Vols travel to play the surprising Tigers of Missouri. Should be a fantastic SEC battle. We'll have it here on Mix 104.1 at 3:30 kickoff. Tennessee number 13, 7-2 at number 14 Missouri, 7-2. Jason Cox, we start with you.
Tennessee's going to rush for 5,000 yards in this game.
A lot.
And if you're, I don't know what the over under is, but it might be 150. I mean, both these teams are going to score a whole bunch of points. There's not going to be much defense at all. So, I mean, who gets the stop? Who gets the stop in the fourth quarter? I don't think Michigan can stop Tennessee's rushing attack. Joe Milton's playing better and better every week. Give me Tennessee in a close one on the road.
Commissioner Rogers.
Over under 58.5. The line is Tennessee 1. Eli Drinkwitz should be the SEC Coach of the Year, hands down. and give me my Tigers to beat them
My
pesky
Tigers.
Volunteers.
My Tigers.
Them Missouri Tigers. I hope Shelton, I hope you enjoy a nice long flight out to Missouri.
He'll
and you're
be
gonna
there.
Come back cold and come back a loser.
Well, okay, cool.
Good Lord.
I mean, okay, cool. At the end of the day, I think that Josh is right in some points of this. I think Missouri, Tennessee, if the Achilles heel of Tennessee and this coaching staff has been anything, it's been we've won one important road game, and that was LSU.
Yep.
We can't win on the road. And this coaching staff, for whatever reason, can't prepare these guys to win on the road. If they do this week, great. I think Tennessee goes to Missouri. I think they play close, but I think Missouri is just that much better. I think you saw last week again. My gauge against how good a team is how they play against Georgia, how they play against Alabama, how you play against these teams. Missouri played great against LSU. They played great against Georgia. Give me Missouri at home. If they were playing in Neyland, I would take the Vols, but I'm taking Missouri on the road.
All right, that's the broadcast. Again, we're about to go to the Vol Network here in a few seconds. We'll have it right here. Kickoff at 3:30. Tennessee at Missouri on Mix 104.1. You've been listening and watching SEC Saturday presented by CHI Memorial. For Stephen Shelton, Jason Cox, and Josh Rogers, I'm Steve Hartline. Let's go to the Vol Network!